Far away and I run. Hey, what's happening, everybody? It is I, your coach, Melanie Black, and today we are going to be answering the question, what is the best stretch for runners? I love this question, but it's a bit of a hard one because there is so much happening when you are running. You have your feet and your knees and your hips and your whole body moving and grooving. But before we dive right in and talk about what I recommend as if we have to prioritize, what's the best, what's the perfect, what's the top stretch for runners, let me specify first when to stretch, because there's a lot of confusion about this, especially in the running community. So before you start off in a run, you definitely want to do some dynamic warm-up. You want to move the joints around, you want to get everything loose and limber, and doing some nice easy dynamic warm-ups, some butt kicks, some high knee marching, some calf raises, all wonderful to get you warmed up for your run. What I wouldn't recommend before the run is the typical static stretches you see runners do. Things like this one, right? Or that one. All of those are fine after the run, those static stretches, once you're already warmed up, but they can actually hinder your performance if you do them before a run. So ideally, to avoid things like cramps and muscle fatigue and things happening badly during your run, you want to make sure, number one, that you're hydrated the 24 to 72 hours before your run. You don't want to go into a run dehydrated. You want to make sure that you have enough carbohydrate or enough calories in your system to sustain you during your run. You want to make sure that you've had enough sleep, and you want to make sure that you have done a dynamic warm-up, not stretching before you run. Now, if you do these things, you'll be less likely to cramp up, you'll be less prone to injury, and of course, if you have a good strength training routine in place as well, this will reduce risk of injury for runners. So even if running is your jam and you really don't like strength training, do just a little bit, maybe twice per week. Getting those big multi-joint movements like squats and deadlifts in are wonderful for runners. All that aside, what is the best stretch for runners? We're talking, okay, we're going to do a static stretch after our run. What should we really focus on? There's a whole lot to think about here. The first way I would prioritize is, where is the stress when we're running, right? We have that impact in our feet. We have knee problems are super frequent with runners, also hip problems. And of these three joints, the foot, ankle area, the knee area, and the hip area, of these three areas, the place with the most complexity is going to be the foot. And we know this as runners will often spend a lot of money on good footwear to prepare their feet for the paving of the pounding of the pavement or the trail, wherever they choose to run. You know that is your first line of contact. The area of the body that's going to absorb the most impact is the foot. And how your foot behaves in relationship to the ground will impact all of your other joints. So that is where you end up with a lot of knee problems, as if you have poor foot function happening, and that can resonate all the way up the chain. So we want to make sure that our feet are well taken care of. Foot care is huge for runners, and that is why we're going to talk about stretching the foot. Now, don't panic. You're looking at this thing saying, oh my gosh, there's a lot of muscles in there. You don't actually need to know all of these muscles in the feet. I just want to show you, to remind you that yes, the foot is a complicated piece of machinery, and it deserves our attention. It deserves some extra TLC when that is our main focus, when our main point of contact with the ground while we're running. We want to make sure that those feet are well taken care of. And the feet have a direct connection with all of the muscles in through the calf. We're talking both the front and the back of the lower leg. All of those muscles run from the calf and down into the feet. And so I'm going to show you some stretches that are going to be good for your feet and for your lower leg. Because if we have to prioritize stretching one area after a run, I would start with the feet. That is absolutely where I would put priority. Now, should you, of course, stretch the quadriceps and the hamstrings and the gluteus maximus minimus, all the other stuff, even up through your core? Yes, of course, you should do a full stretching routine. But if we're going to pick one, just one, I'm going to pick a stretch for the feet. Now, for this stretch, you will need either a yoga strap or a long belt, or a short belt if you've got good flexibility. And I'm going to show you exactly what stretching routine I would recommend with this. It only takes a couple of minutes, and it's super great for your feet, for your calves, and for your running. All right. So what we're going to do with this dang thing, we're going to lay back on the floor, or in this case, I'm going to lay back on my bench. I'm going to loop the belt around my foot, and I'm going to do a few different things here. Now, first, I'm just going to flex the foot back, so I'm pointing my toes back towards my face just as deep as I can. And then I'm going to point the toes up towards the ceiling. I'm going to pull back on it a little deeper. This is also going to stretch my hamstrings. And I'm going to feel a stretch through the front of my foot as I'm pointing the foot and pulling down on the arch and on the heel. And then I'm going to flex my toe back again towards my face, and I'm going to feel that in the back of my calf and in my hamstrings. And then one more time I'm going to do this, and this should allow me to go a little bit deeper. I'm going to point up to the ceiling, point that toe, and then finally flex one more time as deep as I can. So point, flex, and pull back a little bit more each time if you can. Okay, from there, we're going to give it a little bit of slack, and this is part of the fun here. We're going to drop that instep down towards you, press the outer edge of the foot up to the ceiling. This is going to be one of those stretches you didn't know you needed until you do it. It feels so good. You're going to feel a nice stretch from the top of the foot through the upper part of the foot, through the ankle. And you want to just breathe there for a few good deep breaths, at least 30 seconds. And then you're going to turn it all the way over the other way, bringing the instep up towards the ceiling as high as you can and pulling the outer edge of the foot down. Now this one, oddly enough, you're not going to feel it so much in your ankle. You're going to actually feel it more right behind the knee, where that muscle attaches all the way in the back of the knee. So go through that whole routine on one foot, and then you will swap it out. And again, and I'm just going to demonstrate faster than what you should actually do. You should actually do this for, again, at least 30 seconds per direction here. You point and get the front of the ankle stretched out, front of the foot stretched out, pulling down on the heel a little bit, flex, pull back a little bit, point, flex, and then do that one more time. And then after that, we do the side, bringing the outer edge of the foot up towards the ceiling, and then the other side, bringing the other, the instep up towards the ceiling. All right, so if you do those stretches, you are going to make your feet so much more happy, so much more capable of dealing with the stress that you put them under during your run. And in general, if you are a runner, you must take care of your feet. Don't ignore your feet. Give yourself a nice foot massage from time to time. Make sure that you wiggle those toes around, because they put up with a lot of abuse and a lot of endurance during a run. So you want to make sure that you're treating your feet very well. Rolling out your foot, the arch of your foot against a golf ball is another nice way to give yourself a nice massage through the muscles in the foot. But highly recommend. It takes very minimal equipment. Like I said, if you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a belt or a long scarf. That will also work. Just something to assist you to move the foot side to side, up and down. And that'll help you get all of those complex little muscles, not only through the bottom of the foot going up through into the calves, which will help support the knee, but also through the top of the foot and up into the anterior tibialis, which will, when you have shin splints, that's something that people will want to stretch. So make sure that you are getting all of the foot stretched out, those toes wiggling, moving outside of the shoes. Don't just stuff them in the shoes and forget about them, because the feet are your first line of defense against injury. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of those very well, because when you take care of your feet, then everything above that in the chain when you're running will benefit. It's going to make your running a lot more fun. If you have any questions about running, stretches, exercise, anything at all, you can go ahead and drop them down in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And if you would like more coaching, go to www.thenerdgym.com, join at any membership level, and that will give you access to live coaches with the Nerd Gym, live classes, and nutrition plans, and all kinds of wonderful support for your goals. All right, I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have a lovely evening, and bye-bye. And I ran so far away.